Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome to Pontiac WYAC. Thought I would come on for a little bit tonight. I'm keeping a promise to myself to be consistent. Shout out to my homeboy, Chris. Hold on. Let me get my focus. There we go. Made a promise to myself to be a little bit more consistent, even if it's coming on for not too long. And I think I talked about last time how we should post, like if you got something going on or business idea, or not even just a business idea, some personal that you got going on that you like to share with people and you like to gain or garner a following, it's best to be consistent. And you just pick up the knowledge and the rules and the tools as you lead by example and just doing what it is that you want to do. So figured I said, hey, you know what? Been a busy week as it has been over the last months, and but a blessed week. And thank God for sustaining us and sustaining me, getting through another week. Everything went all right. Everything's been cool. Everything's been good. So I just want to give a big shout out to God for carrying me through another, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, And now we at the end of the week. I want to share a couple of things with you guys. I want to go ahead and pub real quick. Let me go ahead and go to my Facebook real quickly. I want to go to be in the driver's seat. Matter of fact, I don't have to go to be in the driver's seat. I can just go right here and share this with you guys. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go ahead and there we go. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, you guys need to tune in. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, hey, tune in tomorrow morning if you're up Eastern Standard Time. Be in the driver's seat. Dr. Teresa Moore and Regina, the Queen of Carlone, is going to be on tomorrow morning with Pontiac's own Terry Hodges. You know, he's been beating the drum for Pontiac for a long time, and he's a standout comedian representing, you know, the Yak. And also from the hit TV show Martin, Carl Payne, aka Cole, which they're going to be having a downtown Pontiac on the 24th. A show is going to be going on, and this is who's everybody you see right here is going to be there. We're going to have Detroit legend Martini Harris, which is a comedian, and from Baltimore, Maria Sanchez, and New York comedy king Capone. Hey, Capone is cool. I watched Capone on a couple of things. Capone, I like his brand, his style of comedy. I like him. So I got a chance to reach out to almost everybody on this flyer and spoke to him. Everybody is a pretty down to earth people, salt of the earth type of folks. But chime in tomorrow morning. Regina, the Queen of Carlones, be in the driver's seat with Dr. Teresa Moore. And this is going to be Pontiac's own Terry Hodges will be in the house. He will be in the pod. And we're going to be pulling in the rest of these lovely people in through the interweb, you know what I mean? So, you know, stay tuned. Watch them tomorrow morning. You will be definitely seeing them. So, that's one of the things that I wanted to go ahead and give a shout out about. Let's go ahead and matter of fact, you know, I had a good little week. Let's go ahead and probably share some stuff right here. Let's go to here. Last week was a very, very good week. Every week is a good week. I just want to say every week is a good week. But last week we had a good week. We had in the pod, being a driver's seat, had a man right here, Dre Thompson from TEDx Pontiac. He was in the pod, had a wonderful interview with all these young lovely ladies. He came in, and this I think is his second time at the pod. We had a great time with that. And we had some new guests come into the pod, which I really enjoyed. These people right here. This was a recording podcast for the Shy Lights, nonprofit group based out of Bloomfield. So we mixing the pot, stirring the pot. You know what I mean? The Detroit Jewish News came in. Then Dr. Ellen from Dr. Ellen Plastics got a chance to go ahead and record Dr. Boston, which is a new addition to the office. And she's a well-accomplished, well-rounded person. Had a chance to go ahead and do some work with Dr. Ellen Plastic Surgery and Reconstruction. Had a great time there. And the Shy Lights, I got another doom. That's me getting prepared for the Jewish News that came to the pod. So I had a real good time. Busy time, but a good time. Busy time, but a great, great time. And then also cannot forget, let me bring this back up. We had a good time at the Pontiac State of the City. I was about to say the State of the Union, but the State of the City, and had a great time that day, and just doing my part with the city of Pontiac. I'm blessed and thankful to be able to have opportunity to work with Pontiac. And quite honestly, like I say, man, I said this a couple of times on here. The city of Pontiac has been a blessing to me. You know what I'm saying? As far as not only just this administration, but the last, being able, and the one before it actually, I've been able to hang around and help and be a part of, and inserting myself in, certain situations where they needed and wanted me to contribute, and I've been able to. So I really appreciate the last three administrations, well, including this one, the last two, including this one, and taking on a more of a role with this one. But yeah, absolutely, just thankful for my position at the table with the city of Pontiac. So I've been having a very good time staying active, you know what I mean, and going at it. So that is what it is. That is what it is. So that's really my week in review. Much more has happened this week in the life of the Sante. You know what I mean? But we're gonna keep it there, and we're gonna keep it short and sweet for tonight. Tonight, I wanted to go ahead and just go over some news stories tonight, and we're gonna go fresh. I'm not gonna these not is non-rehearsed stories. We're gonna go and just see what's on the main line. Basically, we're gonna see what's on the main line here, and basically, I just put up local 4 news. I don't know what these stories are. I'm going to see what these stories are. Y'all could comment. I will pull up the phone number. If you want to call, you can call. But more or less, I'm keeping myself, like I told you, current. So let's go ahead and see what's going on in Metro Detroit news. Breaking news alert.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
And that breaking news we continue to follow right now. In the last 5 minutes, we have just learned that Michigan State Police troopers have shot someone they believe is linked to the murder of 2 teens in Inkster last week. And it all started.
I didn't hear that news. I didn't hear that news about Inkster. Let's listen.
When investigators went to search a home here on Parkwood and Avondale in the city of Inkster, we now know 2 people ran from the home. They got into a car and they allegedly tried to get away from police.
That's right. And what we know so far is during that chase, the suspects collided with another car. What you're seeing here is authorities from Michigan State Police still giving a press information about what happened earlier. The driver of that car, we're told, did die. At some point, MSP troopers opened fire at the suspect, hitting a 19-year-old person.
Bruh, the weather ain't broke good enough, and it's going crazy. It's like when the weather change, you be excited. I know I'd be excited for the weather to change. I know I'd be excited to see the trees bloom. You know what I mean? As I get older, I like to see. I ain't pay attention to no trees and nothing like that when I was younger, but now I'm like starting to appreciate the trees. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like I'm enjoying the trees budding. Oh, look at the trees budding. I guess that's some old man stuff. But now, also I'm thinking as I'm getting older, like, I know when the summer or when the spring and the weather change, that's when, I ain't heard about too much of nothing all fall and all winter. But the last week and a half, as weather has began to change and switch here, Metro Detroit, Pontiac and around the areas, now I'm starting to hear the weirdness, you know what I mean? So here, let's listen.
That person is currently at the hospital being treated for his injuries. We're going to continue to monitor what Lieutenant Shaw is saying there in this presser, and we'll bring you any new information throughout this newscast and on clickondetroit.com as we get it. Thank you so much for joining us here for the news at 6 o'clock. I'm Kimberly Gill.
And I'm Ty Steele. We're also getting a look at a big mess in Lincoln Park. People say they have been dealing with dozens and dozens of potholes, flooding streets, and just bad road conditions for years now.
A Local 4 viewer sent us photos of the conditions on McLean Street while picking up an Uber passenger this morning. He brought their concerns to our attention.
What type of street is that?
And we sent Local 4's Damon Fernandez to check it out. Damon.
It didn't take us long to find this dam.
Man. What type of road is that? Now, come on, man. You mean to tell me what?
Street, nor talk to neighbors about their frustrations. Today, I took their concerns to City Hall for an update.
What if you could make a song using only your voice? Let's start with the drum.
Let's go ahead and. What type of mess was that?
To this every single day.
Some neighbors are calling it or talk to neighbors about their frustrations. Today, I took their concerns to City Hall for an update.
You wouldn't want to come home to this every single day.
Some neighbors are calling it the mess on McLean.
I feel bad for the garbage men. I feel bad for.
And what Lincoln Park doing, dog? What Lincoln Park do? Come on, man. You got people out here riding around on dirt roads, unpaved roads. Lincoln Park, come on,
The UPS people, I feel bad for all delivery services, and especially everyone that has to drive through this.
This is the chaotic street condition folks like Christine Brawl are complaining about. Their stretch of McLean near
You can't even get a car wash and go down that street. It's dusty. It ain't gonna, in the hot sun,
Porter is littered with potholes, and ponding water only makes things worse.
This is ridiculous. I mean, people park on my grass because they don't want to park on the street.
Neighbors say they've complained about this street for years.
It's really rough. I mean, when you're driving on the street, you're boom, 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 boom. It's really bad, and the water doesn't help.
Nadia Shelton moved to the block 2 years ago. She says these rocky conditions have led to car repairs. This is typically what you guys see every day.
Yeah, I mean, with the recent thunderstorms, with the tornado and everything the other day, it's gotten much deeper. Because last week it wasn't this bad at all.
And you don't see too many other streets in Lincoln Park that look like this.
Not at all, not at all.
Neighbors say city crews occasionally come to smooth over this gravel road. George Rodriguez says those patchwork repairs, they don't last. How frustrating does this get, Mr. Rodriguez?
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. It is very, very bad.
I spoke with Lincoln Park City Manager Lisa Griggs. She says city engineers...
Hold on, bro. No wonder that they street look like this. Look at their city hall, bro. No wonder Lincoln Park, no wonder. I ain't trying to, poo-poo on Lincoln Park. But no wonder Lincoln Park, this street look like how it look. Look at their city hall.
It is very, very bad.
I spoke with Lincoln Park City...
What type of city hall is that? No wonder they... Look, bro, ain't no wonder they streets look like this. Look at they city hall. Am I tripping? I ain't really trying to, you know what I mean? But I ain't surprised now. I'm not surprised I'm not surprised on how that looks when I look at their city hall. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, with the recent thunderstorms, with the tornado and everything the other day.
Neighbors say city crews occasionally come to smooth over this gravel road. George Rodriguez says those patchwork repairs this street earlier this week. She added...
Walk through a nightmare.
Get it fixed. Please get it fixed.
Bottom line.
Bottom line.
Lincoln Park, I got to come up with some type of award. Not like the Donkey of the Day, but something close to it. But golly, you got people out here riding around on dirt roads in Lincoln Park. And we got to change that, Lincoln Park. But I'm looking at that city hall. I mean, I got to look at the population of Lincoln Park. What is it, like 15,000 people there, 10,000? I don't know, but you got people. Come on now, do better.
The city manager told me they are getting very close to having this issue resolved. Ty?
That's good to hear. Damon, thanks. And a positive update in the effort to control water levels at the Sheboygan Dam. These are live pictures right here of the area where crews successfully...
Now, this is the story that I heard about the Sheboygan Dam. And I heard about they banning drones from flying over that because of construction and things like that. So I've heard about the Sheboygan Dam. Look that up. Kind of interesting story about this, but yeah, let's listen.
Restarted the turbine inside the hydroelectric dam, and they brought it to full capacity. There's still a long way to go, but water levels...
But I don't want to listen to that story about no dam. Let's go further. Let's go somewhere.
And people should be packing their
fine and increase the flow of water.
Okay, we got the governor. She visited Sheboygan. Boing. So, hopefully they get it together. Yeah. Sometimes, wherever city you're listening from on YouTube or whoever, a lot of times we think of our city or where we are. We really don't think about the surrounding cities that much. Sometimes we not regional mind based. We more or less local. We think about what's happening here in our city or basically in our city, our little village or our whatever. So we don't think about how everything affects everything. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely, this is a sometimes everything affects everything at the end of the day. So Sheboygan dam water levels have increased, and that also affects not just Sheboygan but also the other surrounding communities. water is a real crazy thing. You know what I mean? A lot of people, these water sources are just not there to be, having picnics by. These water levels that are in different locations are strategically made or put around in different areas in communities are stationed to be even water power plants, irrigation, sewage. So when we think of just water dams, they're just not water dams. Let's go ahead and get some comments. Loving our family for. Say hello, good evening, happy Friday, happy Friday. Nikia wins. Hey, who has? She talking to you, Stevie, back there. What's going on? So we have Governor Gretchen Whitmer talking about that. So let's move on. I don't want to talk about the dam no more. Let's talk about the weather. I'm just moving and scooting through the news, y'all. I'm moving and scooting through. And then we're going to cap off. I'm not going to stay too long, but we're going to talk about, we're going to touch on the Iran war. We got to touch on it. We got to talk about it. We have to talk about it because that's what's going on. But let's listen to I don't want to even look at the weather. Let me see. No, I don't want to. Ambassador Bridge cut prepay. Okay. So, yeah, NBA up. Oh, okay, that's a good story. We could talk about the NBA playoffs real quick after this. So, basically, in a nutshell,
University of Phoenix has
Basically, in a nutshell, the Pistons are going to be playing. Looks like the Orlando Magic. The Pistons will be playing. I was hoping that they play the Charlotte Hornets, but
home playoff victory since 2008.
A live look at Little Caesars Arena, where you can expect a party atmosphere on Sunday. But first things first, we need to know who we're going to be playing. We need an opponent.
So I kind of wanted them to play the Charlotte Hornets because there's a little bit of, seems like a cheapness rivalry with these guys, but it looks like the Orlando Magic. I think, quite honestly, that the Detroit Pistons can go ahead and make it to the finals. I actually really do. I think it's going to probably come down Eastern Conference Finals. What I would like to see is Detroit Pistons against the New York Knicks. That's what I would love to see. I don't know how the bracket shape up, so I got to look at the bracket to see how the bracket basically is. But if anybody knows or know the NBA's bracket, it doesn't fall where the Pistons probably would play. A lot of people say that the Boston Celtics might be, but I think it's going to be either the three: the Pistons, Boston Celtics, or New York Knicks. Now, I think the Pistons can do it. Cade coming back just in time. Hopefully he's 100% healthy. Hopefully the team is healthy and we can get through a nice stretch. I haven't really watched the Pistons like that. I've been, but I'm more of a player. I'm a fair weather. I don't even know half the dudes on the team, but I do know that they play tough. And, so.
Will it be the Orlando Magic or the?
We think they play them. Ford releases Cade Cunningham. Fire.
Go to work.
Let's listen. So let's get on to some different news because I said I wasn't going to stay long tonight. All right. So I want to go ahead and talk about how, let me go into my history here because I had this pulled up. How at this moment, let me go ahead and bring this back up. Okay. At this moment, ships, hey, what's going on, Patricia? What's going on? What's the word? So right now, at this moment, we're going to go ahead and hit and touch on the Iran war. If anybody would like to call, I'm going to give you the phone number to call. If you want to be a part of the show, you can be part of the show. You don't have to be, my opinion, but I'm talking based on facts. I'm basing all my talks about what I got to say about this based in fact. Okay, I might give you a little bit of my opinion, but I'm basing most of everything in fact on fact. Now, the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, as you see over there on the horn, basically the Horn of Africa that you see right here, we have Saudi Arabia, okay? And then on the other side of Saudi Arabia, we have Iran. I don't know if you guys see my mouse or whatever, how it goes. So that's where the blockade is at. Would you say, here we go? No. So as you can see, their ship trackers are more or less are watching what's going on right now. And they are it's telling that ship and oil tankers from around different countries from around the world are they're following the shipping lanes basically. And what's happening now is mostly of the oil tankers they're finding new energy routes, meaning now a lot of the oil tankers around the world are heading to the Gulf of America. Used to be the Gulf of Mexico. So now people really think, and I think that people don't understand, people really think that the United States needs the oil from the Middle East oil. The United States doesn't need Middle East oil. The reason why that the prices is going up altogether is because the oil industry is disrupted by the closure of the Hormuz Straits. If you have a problem saying Hormuz, I know a lot of people say just put Hormuz. Just say Hormuz. Hormuz. That's how I say it. So Hormuz Straits is, being closed down or blockaded by the United States. Now that's applying a lot of pressure to Iran because Iran basically, y'all, is in a conundrum. All right. Iran does not have a military or the military force to combat the United States or what's going on with them. They really hog-tied right now. They can't do anything. Minesweepers have went through the Strait of Hormuz, and all the land or the sea mines have been taken away. The United States have gone ahead and enacted blockade. There's no ships coming in or out as of right now. But earlier today there was a lift, I believe, and it opened. So I got to check that out, make sure that's accurate of what I'm understanding. But a lot of tankers know that the United States. This was when United States went down into Venezuela. This to me seems like a whole. Let's talk about Central and Northern. We could talk about that. What happened with the United States went into Venezuela, took over Venezuela more or less. That's what happened. Made a deal with Venezuela. United States controls Venezuelan oil. Now, since the United States control the largest oil reserves in the world, a lot of countries are coming to the United States to fill up in Houston, fill up on the Gulf of Mexico, and they're taking their ships and taking their oil back into their countries. One ship can carry 200 million barrels of oil. 1 barrel of oil is 42 gallons, I believe. So yeah, it's a lot. So right now, I think within a week or two, I think y'all might be seeing oil prices or oil or gas prices go down dramatically. And the reason why the oil prices or the gas prices went up was because the oil market got disrupted. We got Nakia Wins that says no, not true, sir. So we always have a detractor. We always have someone that's in the crowd that wants to cause trouble. You know those people that be in class and they always got something to say in class. They get detention. But no, that's the truth. That's the truth. So if it's not the truth, why is all of these ships heading to the United States to get oil? Why are they coming here to the United States? It's right there. You know what I mean? It's showing, it's the fact of the matter. You know what I mean? The United States does not use Middle Eastern oil like that. So the only reason that the oil industry is being disrupted, which is causing the oil prices to inflate, but they're gonna go back down dramatically. I think it's in the best interest to get this thing over with, like, as soon as possible, though. I believe it's best to get this thing over with as quick as possible, as far as what's going over there in Iran, because the longer it go, the worse off. The United States really are. Let me see. D wins. Ask yourself, if they're coming here, why are our prices so high? Well, our prices are high, like I just said. The prices are high. Let me hit my Our prices are high because we have to look at it like this. Our oil is just not the only oil that's in the marketplace. The United States or United States controlled oil is not the only oil in the marketplace. There's also Middle Eastern oil that's in the marketplace, Russian oil that's in the marketplace, different Canadian oil that's in the marketplace. So when you have all these things that's in the marketplace, if you shut off, which is Iran, the number 3 producer of the global oil, when you cut that supply off, then that supply is going to, because the demand goes higher at that point. So that's going to it's going to affect the whole global market. But now that people are actually coming into the United States, getting the oil, because at the end of the day, it's not a lie, it's not false. The United States is the controller of most of the oil in the United States. So people not going to be bringing a billion dollar ships across oceans to fill up oil. It's not going to happen. Why would they lead there? Why would they come all this way just to get oil from here? You got to ask yourself that. Why would they come here? If they could get it from Iran or they could get it from anywhere else, why are they coming to the United States controlled situation? So look, it is what it is. I think the best thing to do, hopefully, is to get this thing over as quick as possible. I'm with all the previous presidents. I agree with all the previous presidents of the last 3, 4, 5 previous presidents that, you have to stop the uranium. You have to go seize the uranium. You have to seize the uranium. All of them wanted or talked about, stopping Iran from becoming a nuclear situation. And at the end of the day, all of them talked about it, but none of them did anything to actually do it. So I think while you over there, you might as well get this uranium at this point and just stop it and get this thing over with, and hopefully, you know what I mean? I would hate to see any more destruction come to over there, but, and be able to leave out of there and so the people could still have an infrastructure on which to build from. Choking off the Straits of Hormuz is really actually debilitating Iran, because that's their only really income, import or their export. They have really nothing else that sustains their country. So this really is a chess move, or it's really debilitating to their country. So I would say, it's in their best interest just to make a deal. And, it's really hurting the countries that do get oil, that depend on Iranian oil. And as you see on the map, one of the major countries is China. So, China hasn't crossed the blockade either. So again, the reason why, you just, it's just, I would just say, I really would hope, this thing gets over with fairly quickly. You know what I mean? So that was a strategic move to actually close the straits. That was a real big strategic move to close the straits, because I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. And like I say, the United States really doesn't need Middle Eastern oil. That's not true. We gave $20 billion no, that's not true. I would like to, let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. Now I do know Obama gave, we can pull that story up, because I would like to pull that story up and see where the United States gave, let's see. I know that Obama pays Iran $12 billion in gold. I remember he did that, and that was, I think, during his second term. So I don't know. Show me the article, D. I'd like to see that. Let me see. I'll look it up. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and Google it. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. USA gave $20 billion. Why would you give your enemy that you're fighting and dropping bombs on, or whatever the case, why would you give them $20 billion in a negotiation? All right, USA gave $20 billion to Iran. So I'm gonna see if this pulls up. Okay. This is CNN. Let's look at this. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up. I agree. All right. All right, let's pull it up. Since you don't like Fox, Trump administration 10 hours ago. Trump administration considers unfreezing $20 billion in Iranian assets after lambasting for the above. So they're considering it, or whatever. That's what it says. Now, this is the news station that you like. The Trump administration considered unfreezing $20 billion Iranian assets as part of the ongoing negotiations with Tehran, according to two sources familiar. So that's one source. So they talking about unfreezing their assets. Didn't say us giving them anything. Now this is this what you. So that didn't say anything about United States giving them $20 billion. I don't see that happening. So from what it looked like is the United States froze their money. Let's go and I'm gonna look at let me look at something else. I'm just gonna see what else pops up about this. All right. U.S. proposal would allow. This is the Wall Street Journal. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and show this. U.S. proposal would allow Iran to access $20 billion for handing over their enriched uranium. Because at the end of the day, that's what the United States need to be getting, that doggone uranium, dog. If you over there, you might as well you have to get that, or the mission is about nothing. You have to get the rest of the uranium. So the U.S. has told Tehran it would give Iran access to $20 billion if it hands over a stockpile of fusel materials, including familiar with the proposal and one idea at the table. So Iran to move access of 972 weapons grade material enriched uranium. So it don't say anything about them giving them anything. I'm just looking at the words. We thought we got that in June. Well, they still have uranium. I mean, they probably still had the uranium. You know what I mean? Like I think they blew up the weapons that they had, but they still had uranium. Like they, you know, in my understanding, and I could be wrong. They had dropped the bunker busters, blew up the enriched uranium that was almost weapons grade. So once they blew up that, they still had uranium, but after that, they still kept on enriching the uranium. You know, so I don't like when you saying lies. I don't. What are the lies? Do you think that Iran has uranium, D, or do you think Do you think that Iran has uranium? And let me ask you this: if Iran has uranium, do you feel that the uranium that they have, they should be allowed to, or they should have uranium enriched to weapons grade for a nuclear weapon? So that's the question that I would ask you. And what other reason why the United States, quite honestly, let me ask the real question. Why do you think the United States is there? What's your reason? What you think the United States is over in Iran for? If anybody could tell me in their opinion, what do they feel they're there for? If it's not the uranium, is it uranium? Is it oil? China has nuclear weapons. Absolutely. Absolutely, they do. But what they got to do with Iran, though? So what I'm asking is, do you feel like they should have what is the United States over there for? Oil. I don't think the United States, okay, my opinion, but based off of what I'm seeing, I don't think the United States is over there for oil. Quite honestly, because the United States doesn't use Middle Eastern oil like that. So do we run China? I'm not gonna say we run China. In my opinion, I don't feel like we run China, but China know not to mess with the United States. Like United States, like at the end of the day, is still more advanced than China. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, I think you would want the United States to be more advanced or run the table more than China. You are in America. Would you want China to run the United States? China definitely don't run the United States. So, say, yeah, they have nuclear weapons, but then you got to ask yourself, how did they get nuclear weapons? Who was in charge who was the president? Who let the ball slip to get China to get in position to get, nuclear weapons? They do have them, you know what I'm saying? But they're not the only country. United States, this is Russia, you know what I'm saying? It's about world peace. They shouldn't have nukes. If it's about world peace, they shouldn't have nukes. Who shouldn't? The United States or So, but at the end of the day, they do. You know what I'm saying? China got them, Russia got them, United States. I don't know, some other countries got them, Germany, whomever, Britain has them. But every president, basically in the last 40, 50 years, basically said Iran can't have them. Because they believe if they do have them, they will use them against United States interest. And then that's going to really plunge us into the big war. You know what I mean? Who really wants that? So I don't think China wants that. Russia don't want that. United States don't want that, nor does the world. But Iran probably would just set it off for real. And other countries around in that area, for some reason, don't want them to have one either. Like their other Arabian partners. You can go and look on their news stations, like you can look on, I do watch Al Jazeera. Kuwait doesn't want them to have it. Saudi Arabia doesn't want them. The United Emirates don't want them to have it. of course, Israel, which is in that region, but that's whatever. They don't want Iran to have these things. So why is no one destroying their programs? As far as because ain't none of those. These based on fact. None of those Arabian or Persian countries are stronger than Iran. Could none of them take on Iran far as a military might, far as what they told? It wouldn't have been good for Kuwait or Saudi Arabia or any of their neighbors to go ahead and take on them because they quite honestly couldn't beat them. But as you see, the United States came in there, wiped out their Navy, wiped out they have none. Just look at the facts. They have no more army. I mean, they probably can do a lot of guerrilla warfare within the country, but they can't beat them. Iran can't beat the United States, dog. I be thinking you be wanting the United States to lose, and you live here. I mean, so I don't get it. But at the end of the day, I think you had to. I think they were close to. I think they were close to wrenching a real weapon. I don't think it had nothing to do with oil. It could be. It could be about oil. It could be about oil. I think, if they get look, I ain't mad at them if they get the access to 20 billion. If they get to 20 billion, I'm cool with that. I ain't got no problem with that. Long as they hand over the enriched uranium, you should want that. You should want that for real. Like what is 20 billion to a country, man? What is 20 billion handing over 20 billion? That's nothing. To us, it's something. Think about it. Michael Jordan is a billionaire. So there's 20 billionaires in the United States. So 20 billion, handing over $20 billion ain't really nothing when you look at it, as far as on a spectrum of a country, I think. But if they hand over the uranium, give it to them. If that's what your whole purpose is. Because I don't think it's the oil. I don't think it's really the oil situation, but I could, like I said, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. How could you be a believer and want to kill? Is that against God? Well, war is, I think people got God mistaken. You know what I'm saying? If you look into the Bible, let's look into it since you brought up God. Let's look into it. I could bring up a scripture too. The Bible says in Exodus 15. Let's go ahead and go to the Bible since you just brought it up, and let's go to Let's go to the Bible here and see if I can pull up, if I could change the, let's go to Exodus 15 and 3. Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. So it tells you that God basically is a man of war. You know what I'm saying? So God himself is not opposed to war when you have to have it. People forget that there was a war in heaven. That's when he kicked the devil out. And so the devil basically was causing havoc up in heaven, jealous of God, jealous of what God was trying to do, and he thought he should be God. So the devil, or Lucifer at that time, we whatever want to call him, he was causing mess up there in heaven. And he got a whole bunch of other angels to follow him and cause havoc, and there was war. And God had war. And the archangel, Michael, Gabriel, they came and they kicked their butt out. So God is war is necessary. It's just what it is. I mean, is it something that we want? No, but a lot of times war is kind of necessary in situations. It's just what it is. Trump trying to get a third term, nothing more. That's crazy talk. Nope, he ain't no third term. No interpretation you saying is wrong. So go to Exodus 15:3. You tell me what that means. Tell me what that means. Go to Exodus. Let's we can find maybe another scripture. Also, there are scriptures where God supported war. Like God, hey man, this is a story. There's a story in the Bible where God, when the Israelites was going into battle. Yeah. How? Tell me. Okay, y'all tell me what this mean. Then tell me what 15:3 mean. Exodus, and do we know what the book of Exodus is? It's when the children of Israel left out of. So check this out. This is a perfect example. Since y'all say, let's go back to Derek. Let's go back to Derek comment. Thou should not kill. Who said that? Of course, God wrote that on the tablets. But you proving my point. You proving my point, D. I'm about to go ahead and just burst your bubble right here, dog. You said no. Thou shalt not kill. Who said that? And I'm not. What's up, Brenner? What's up, dog? God, dog. Exactly, Jermaine. That's what I'm telling. Yeah, that's what I'm telling my mans. So we talking about, you said, okay, so God said, thou should not kill, right? He gave that to Moses at Mount Sinai when he was leading the children of Israel out of bondage in Egypt. And this was in the book of Exodus, basically in a nutshell. Thou shalt not kill, right? That means when you go, that you don't go kill people frivolously. You don't go just, let me go rob my man, kill him, blah, 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 boom. That's killing somebody. You know what I mean? No, you just out here just doing it. But if you protecting or saving somebody, is that considered killing? It has a different connotation, right? So we can't say, you know what I mean? We can't say it like that. It's all in the context of what you're thinking about. Now, let's bring this in since D Wins asked the question. Since D Wins asked the question. This is the long thing right here he just wrote. Yeah, I don't read the New King. Yeah, I'm regular King. I don't do all the interpreting like the new regular. Yeah, see, I don't do that. Frequently used by Chick-fil-A. Oh man, what's that? I don't even know what that's saying, bro. That's part of the song Moses, God, McLixley. So this is going back to my thing, what I was saying, D. So God is a man of war, or has helped the Israelites, or helped his people, or he helped people in war situations. There's a story in the Bible where he made the sun stand still, meaning that the sun stayed in the sky, or it stayed bright longer than it was supposed to. So the Israelites could win a certain war that they were going up against an enemy. Or when he brought when the children of Israel was leaving out of bondage in Egypt, when he swallowed the enemy up, the Egyptians, and the Red Sea. Ain't that killing? Ain't that warfare? That's, if you ask me, that's a heck of a warfare right there. When you know what I'm saying? So, so God did a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? And just took somebody like, or, so you can't, you can't say that. Hey, D, I be every turn you come at, I be boom, boom, bamming you. You just like, shooting you down. But yeah, I mean, so I don't, so at the end of the day, nobody wants war. Nobody wants to see that. And nobody supports war. I don't believe that. Nobody supports war or wants to see that, or innocent people getting messed up. But I guarantee you this, bro. If these people do get uranium, enriched uranium, weapons grade uranium, and if they can shoot a missile over here to the United States, they don't care about if D Wins is a supporter of them, like them, that you black or that you white. They're not caring. They not gonna send a missile over here and be like, oh no, D Wins, we gonna hit D Wins. They're not thinking about that if they send a nuclear weapon over here. So it's just the fact of the matter. I don't mind, in my opinion, as far as how I feel about it, I don't mind them actually getting $20 billion. That's not a problem to me. I don't care. Long as they hand over their enriched uranium. And the reason I'm feeling like this is because I'm tired of I'm tired of the can getting kicked down the road. Now that I didn't pay attention to this stuff when I was in my 20s and 30s. I heard about it in my early teens, whatever I heard about it, I never paid attention to it. But now that I'm almost 50 years old, I do think about the type of world that my kids will inherit or grandkids one day might have. And what type of, what I'm saying? And quite honestly, like I said, at the end of the day, you got all these different countries. We got, that's on the United States heels as far as trying, Russia, China and this and that, and other countries that's vying to be the world power number one. Hey, I want the United States to continue to be the number one world power, global economy for them. You know what I'm saying? Not for my children or grandkids or nieces or whomever. I don't want it to be another country. Or I want the United States to have the most powerful, nation, militarily and economically, and be in the best position to make the best moves, period. Up until, God says that's it, and he coming back and he taking over how he take over. And he run it how he got to run it. But, I don't think you would like it if you lived in Iran or China, you know what I'm saying, or Russia. You wouldn't be able to even type on a live stream right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let me pull up your what's the name? Exodus 15:30. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. Celebrates God as an active deliverer who fought for Israel against Egypt in the Red. Okay, yep. It emphasizes God's power over evil, showing he will not passive but directly intervene to protect his people. Yep, uphold justice and making point. Yep, and that's nothing wrong with that. And you're right, and that's right. I believe that. But he killed those people. He killed those people, and that's not the only instance. He unalived those people. According to the Bible, and they wasn't the only ones that he unalived. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, so we can't say war is 100% bad. If war is righteous, it could be, and sometimes war may not be righteous in the beginning, but it have a righteous purpose, God's ultimate righteous purpose. So I think whatever is happening in the world is part of the divine purpose plan. Ain't nothing really happening nothing is happening that is not part of the divine plan structure. So yeah, I mean, go back to D, what he said, so just stop. God don't like what's going on and you know it. How do you know that? And do you, if you believe that God is in control, which I believe he's in control, ain't this part of his will? He already knew what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, who he was going to put in place for it to allow it to happen. I mean, according to the Bible, it's already written how things going to play out and how it has to play out. So I'm not really feeling like God don't like what's happening because he already knows. He's omnipresent, but he's all knowing, all telling. So he already know what's going to happen and how it has to happen for it, But I do know this. You know what I'm saying? I want to know, do you think, I'm just asking you a question. I know before you go to bed, or, I know you had a, long week also. Do you feel like they should, maybe should they have enriched uranium? That's my question to deal with. But overall, what I was saying with this whole thing is, even you say 12 billion, we can go into a lot, and U.S. paid 1.3 billion more to cash. Look at the type of stuff that's been happening over years. We can just go back in the history. U.S. paid 1.3 billion more in cash to Iran. This was 9 years ago. Congress demands answers to cash payment to Iran from the Obama administration. Let's listen to this.
Hey, lovers, this is...
Hold on, so we don't get flagged. Let's listen to this.
Oversight hearing on the cash payment to Iran, funds many say was ransom money for several American hostages. One America's Emily Miller has more from Washington.
President Obama never told the public that the $1.7 billion sent to Iran was in cash. Republicans were shocked with the news and now demanding answers.
So what? So let me ask you this. What's the difference if he does give some money and it was already money given before anyway? You know what I'm saying? You can't, in my opinion, that's hypocritical. That's just hypocritical to me. Like, oh, they can't give $1 billion or 2 or 3 or 10 or whatever the case. But old boy, because I like old boy, I think he's great. He can give it. Then it's okay. You got to be one way all the way around with this whole thing.
Cash is the currency of terrorism.
Hensarling, chairman of the Financial Services Committee, said he had to sign subpoenas to force these Obama administration officials to show up for this hearing. The first since it was revealed that the payments to Iran were made in cash.
They could have made the payment in the legal traceable banking system.
So part of the previous nuclear deal, and you should probably look at this, man, because this is kind of interesting. I know about the previous nuclear deal. I don't know a whole 100% about it. But from my understanding about the previous nuclear deal a while back was that they paid them, Iran, in cash, billions of dollars for them to hold on to a promise that they would not enrich or try to get uranium. They used that money. They used that money to go ahead and purchase uranium, scientists, and enrich and basically uptick their nuclear program. That's what they used that money for. So basically 10, 11 years ago, they used the money that the United States gave them up under the administration of Barack Obama. Just keep it real. He gave them money. They turned around and used that money to spend it on their nuclear program. And they promised that they wouldn't do that. So that leads us to where we are even today. Like previous administrations, just look at my thing is just look at how we got here. Why are we even here in the first place? So this ball cannot, and Obama has said it, Biden has said it, Bush has said it, both Bushes has said it, Clinton has said it, Joe has also said it, Biden has said it, Kamala has said it. They cannot get one. We cannot allow them to get one. So if all of them said it, why did they allow them to continue to proliferate? But now that somebody is actually doing something about it, now it's a problem. You can't have it both ways. It wasn't a big deal. Nobody was talking about it when he gave cash payments to them, and they were supposed to make a deal, the Iran nuclear deal, that they would not proliferate, and they did. Can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. So, now that you got somebody doing something about it, you really can't be, hypocritical about that at this point. And my whole thing is this. If you're over there, let's get it over with. That's my whole thing. If we're over there, let's get this thing over with so you ain't got to keep going back over there and having this same problem over, and over again. You know what I'm saying? We just can't, get this over with so we can stop it. And, so the United States, in my opinion, can just worry about what's going on with the United States. United States is so plugged with so much going on everywhere else. We got all these troops in other places around the world. Like, for instance, Japan. There's 35 to 45,000 American troops in Japan right now. Why are there 45,000 United States troops that's been there in Japan all this time? You know why they're there? Because the United States is protecting them from North Korea. Why is there 40,000 troops in Germany of American troops in Germany? Because the United States is protecting them from Russia. Why is there troops? You know what I'm saying? Why is there troops? And I believe it's time for the United States now to take their ball and go home. For so many years and all this time, United States had, and believe it or not, the United States is not in the position anymore to be grandfather in all these countries. No more at this point. The world's policemen, I think those days are really coming to an end. They should come to an end. I really hope so, because that takes the footprint of, take care of your interests, whatever interests that you have globally, of course. But I think now the United States, we got to get this conflict over with and concentrate on this side of the world, meaning the United States should really concentrate on what's on this side of the world, the Western Hemisphere. And let them do whatever they're doing in the Eastern Hemisphere. I mean, have some maybe dealing with them as far as when it comes to trade and all this type of stuff. But how are you dealing with them with politics? How the United States is funding a lot of overseas things, like those have to stop. Because look at so much stuff that has went to the wayside with the United States as far as infrastructure, the electric grid, oil. Look where we done gave as a country. The United States have given up a lot of its things that the United States used to do, they don't do anymore. So now it's really the United States has to pour back into itself. No longer do I really feel the United States should be actually involved in a lot of foreign affairs like that. Of course, you got to have that foreign affair, in there, of course, because you have to deal with different countries and things like that, of course. But you need to start really investing in the country of the United States. The United States needs to invest in the United States to make sure that the United States is producing and creating real jobs over time. And that's why I'm kind of happy, actually, that there's not a huge need for foreign energy. Because once you depend on another country for your energy, that's where you messed up at. And I don't care how much we go electric, the world still runs on oil. At the end of the day, I know we ride electric bikes and electric vehicles, but that ain't the main thing. Fossil fuel is still how the world works, as we see. Electricity ain't gonna take over fossil fuels. I don't think no time soon. So if that's the case, it's real important that the United States become energy independent. And as we see, the United States can be energy independent. Other countries like China, Russia not so much, but I believe China, they're not energy independent because they depend on Iranian oil. A lot of places depend on different places. And I think the United States, I can't say is going to be self-contained and just 100% everything from the United States, but You want the majority of your energy. If you can control your energy, you could control your destiny. If you could control where you put your energy and place your energy, you could control your destiny. And if you could control, that's even on an individual basis, I believe. If you can control your energy, you can control your destiny. And that goes down to a country on a global scale. If you could control your energy, you control the board. If you control the energy. So I would like to see us control the energy. You know what I'm saying? And not anybody else. That keeps you at the top shotter spot. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to close. When we really look at what happened, when we take it even back to Pearl Harbor, which was many years ago, that whole thing came down to energy. That's what that was really about. You know, United States stayed out of World War II pretty good, you know, up until, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. That brought the United States into the war. But that whole attack was based off of energy. It was based off energy. And that's how really the United States got drawn into the World War II. So energy is a big thing, you know what I'm saying? Be it fossil fuels or wood, timber, however it is, energy is the main thing. And as far as an individual or a business or a country, I believe the best way you can be is energy independent. Not saying you don't need other countries for other things, for trading and because that's how you keep the world turning. We all need something from each other. But you should be able as a country not to depend too much on another country for most of your energy. And once you do, you're no longer the world power at that point. Whoever supplying you is the power. You know what I mean? Like we get our power and our energy from God above. That's why he's the number uno. That's why he's numero uno, because he's the power source that gives to us. We really depend on him. A lot of people don't want to recognize it and, you know what I'm saying, say that that's what it is. But he's the one, he's the power point. He's the power plant. You know what I mean? So, and you know what I'm saying, from the power he give you, you generate things to happen. So basically the United States, needs to control its own energy and let other countries come to the United States for once in a while and for the United States start to supply. That's the only way the United States gonna really come back. And I was been preaching this for like the last couple of months. The only way the United States is gonna be good for real, is the United States has to be a producer. It can't get all this stuff from China all the time or from whomever, all this steel or whatever from Canada. It can't get all of this, aluminum from Canada or Mexico. You can't do that. United States has steel. United States has aluminum. Why are we getting it from them? Why did we pawn out all the things that we did or do to other countries where we don't really provide anything like that anymore? Who and how did we get to this point now? Who kicked the can down? That's the question. Who kicked the can down the road? And now that, in my opinion, somebody is trying to stop the can from getting kicked down the road. Because quite honestly, I think really the United States is at a critical point, a real critical point, that it can go, this could go either, we really at a teeter-totter. It could go either one or two ways. Either you can look back in the next 10 years and say it was genius that this happened and the United States has solidified itself for the next 50 to 100 years being a global dominant power, the number one country. Or because how many have we heard saying the United States is on decline, or are we going to go backwards? So we at a real teeter-tot right now as far as the country itself, on which way it can go right or left. at this point. You know, it just seemed like to me some people just want the country to fail. You know what I mean? Or, you know, it's not really thinking about ultimately the chess. I think people are looking too much of who's in charge and not the job that needs to be done and why and what is happening. You got to be tough, you know, and, you know, so I'm, you know, praying for the best and whatever God will is with this situation. But I think things are going to be panning out the way that he wants them anyway, even if it's the way I want it or not. But that's tonight's world news. Hope you guys learned something that it looks like, you know, a lot of people or a lot of countries are heading or getting, are heading into the U.S. territory to get, you know, energy, which is their fossil fuel oil, because the straits were closed. I know news came out today that the strait was opened. So hopefully that is the case. Hopefully that is the case, and that can stabilize the global economy with fossil fuel oil. Hopefully, you know, hopefully the ceasefire can keep up, because I don't think the people, just the regular everyday citizen, the people in Iran can't take any more bombarding of these. I mean, they're getting bombarded like crazy. They can't intercept any missiles. As far as Iran, they can't intercept any missiles. They can't stop any planes. They can't stop anything that the United States wants to do to them as far as militarily. But ultimately, it's going to hurt people if this thing continues. So it would be best interest, hopefully, for Iran to just go ahead and take the deal, because they really can't do anything else. And, you know, let the inspectors come in there and get the uranium, or however they got to do it, and just boom, bam. Take the 20 bill, if it's a 20 ball that they're going to get, you know what I mean? And start rebuilding their country. Start rebuilding their country, and then the world economies can get back to what it was. And better, maybe, you know, at this point. So at the end of the day, you know, it's just unfortunate all this had to happen. But this was going to happen eventually anyway, with this president or the next one or the one after. This was eventually going to happen. And I think, quite honestly, if this would have happened later down the road, I think the outcome could and would have been totally different, because honestly, I do think that they probably would have secured, you know, maybe have secured a weapon. And if they did at that point in time, it'd be a whole different outcome. You know, the world stage would have changed dramatically. You know what I'm saying? So that, I don't know. Again, everybody, this show was brought to you by MacBook Neo. If you guys are looking for a good laptop, a cheap laptop, a cheaper laptop, but it's good and you can do a lot of things with, I'll suggest that you go ahead and get the MacBook Neo. Like I told you guys, I put my main computer, I just wanted to test it for a while. I put my main computer, not my main computer, but the computer I usually do all my shows with, I put it back here on this and let that run. I said, you know what? I want to see what the Neo could do. I want to build up some confidence with it. And I want to tell you, if you're in the market for a computer, a laptop, please go check out the MacBook Neo, $599, $499 if you got student discount. So if you got somebody in your family that's in high school, got a student ID, you can use that. Go to Apple, you can get the $100 off, or you got a college student, get the $100 off, and you can go ahead and get the MacBook Neo, $499. I would really suggest get the 512 gigabyte storage one. In the Touch ID, that's $100 more. So they got it for $490 or $599 and $699. The $699 you can get it for $599 with the student discount. So I would say that just because you have just more storage, but it turns out to be a cool, nice little computer. So the MacBook Neo, I would suggest to anybody that has students, or you want to do a little editing, you can do it. But everything that I'm doing right now is off this MacBook Neo, which is right here. and I've had it for like maybe a good month at this point. Yeah, a nice little month at this point. I'm a techie. So you guys, I will probably be coming on tomorrow. I'm going to share one more time what you guys, in my opinion, should be looking out for tomorrow. Tomorrow, look out for morning. What time are we at? We're at 10:49. Tomorrow morning, be in the driver's seat. We have Pontiac owned Terry Hodges going to be on. He's coming directly to the pod, and he's going to be promoting Spring into Summer Bash. I think that's April 24th. I don't have the flyer, but you're going to have from the hit TV show Martin, Carl Payne, a.k.a. Cole. You're going to have the Detroit legend Martini Harris, which is a comedian from Detroit. From Baltimore, Maria Sanchez is going to be there, and the New York comedy king Capone. And all of these guys is pretty dope. All of them are pretty good. So, yeah, tune in tomorrow morning at Be in the Driver's Seat. Where Regina, the Queen of Carlones, and Dr. Teresa Moore. With that being said, you guys have a wonderful night. I got to whip something up for the show tomorrow. Remember, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, Terry Hodges will be at the pod for Regina, the Queen of Carlones, and Dr. Teresa. Be in the Driver's Seats podcast live on Facebook and YouTube tomorrow morning. So you guys watch for that. With that being said, I hope you all had a wonderful week. I'm hoping you have a great weekend if I don't come back on and see you guys. And we always up for debate, fun debate. We can disagree. It don't matter. But, and have a little fun. Again, I just do this just to be, testing out my equipment sometime and just ruffle a little feathers sometime. But it's all love. With that being said, you guys, take it easy. Keep God first, family second, and you third. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.